how they work and what they
basically, when it comes to the creative element, it depends.
When it comes to choosing the right product for my skin, it's all about the ingredients for me. Niger skincare products are authentic, fresh, and best of all, completely organic. I love the Motherland Moisturizer. It's designed to smooth and soak in the skin without ever feeling greasy, and their Jade Roller has literally become a part of my self-care routine. Visit nigerskincare.com today and receive 20% off your first order. For beautiful skin you were born to love.
Good evening, and welcome to Straight Talk. My name is still Lady Marlene, and we are reaching to you from United Kingdom, London precisely. The show we have today, we call it, we'll not just say Igbophobia, but Nigeria or Ghana must go. Who started it first? I know this is a problem that we've had for a while, for a long time now, since 1969. You either hear Nigeria must go or you hear Ghana must go. But today we want to tap a little bit on it in what's going on in Ghana today, up to date, in regards to the Igbo king that's been paving waves or making waves in Ghana blocks. I use the word blocks because it's not really what we read or what we hear that is what's going on in Ghana. I was opportuned to speak to the king, and he told me a little bit of his side of the story, which I will play a bit of it, but he also sent me a video which I will put up too. But before I do that, I have to bring into the stage a few gentlemen. We're supposed to be four of us here, but the two are still yet to log in. Like Femi Oke is still yet to join us, and Spencer, my co-host, and Spencer Anyanwalo is still yet to join us. But back in the studio, I'll bring you up Dr. Olayinka Raji. They call him Rajo. I'm not too sure if he's a Raj or Raji, but yes, Dr. Olayinka. Dr. Olayinka will tell us a little bit about himself later on, because there's so much about this gentleman, I must tell you. Also behind the scene and joining us is Sir Victor Osakwe. Sir Victor, you are welcomed. Victor is a popular face in this hour. Victor, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself too? He's a popular face with Prime View TV. Like I said, we're still Prime View Television. Join us, stay tuned with us, and open I'm Igbo. And what's happening is close to heart. So please, gentlemen, let me just put, before we introduce ourselves and before we go ahead with what we're about to say, let me play a short clip of what, how the king explained. The story is not about the king, but we cannot have this without actually mentioning this particular issue, the thing that is happening right now in Ghana. Let me see if I...
You are seeing on the internet that I said we'll build Igbo village was made 2013, 12 years ago. If you look at my age now, my age then, that time no small biabia. That time, you can see the video how young I was then, 12 years ago. Now, we have no piece of land acquired in Ningo Pram Pram for that project because it did not come to pass. Nowhere in Ghana we bought land for Igbo village till now, till tomorrow. But it was so bad that some of our bloggers misinterpreted the vision, and they said we want to build Igbo kingdom in Ghana. That is 100% lies. If you go back to that video, you see what I said is Igbo village. And the interpretation of village is different from kingdom. We have no any plan to build any kingdom in Ghana. We cannot build kingdom on top of someone's kingdom.
You heard it. In as much as long as I've mentioned that this has nothing to do, no, not that it doesn't have. It's not the topic of today. We have so much to discuss about Nigerian and Ghana relations, and that's why I brought Dr. Olayinka. Please, can you introduce yourself? Tell the audience a bit about yourself.
Okay. Good evening, viewers around the world. My name is Olayinka Raji. I normally tell my friend that I was made in Ghana. I was born in Ghana before Ghanaian independence, and therefore I'm technically a Ghanaian, legally a Ghanaian. I did part of my secondary school in Ghana until 1970 when I had to come home to complete my studies. I finished my studies in Ife, and I am an electronic engineer. I'm involved in ICT, and I'm nearing retirement age.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. And I'm so happy, like you stated it, you were made in Ghana. You're Nigeria made in Ghana. You were born in Ghana. But you didn't tell us there's something that you whispered to my ears today that you didn't mention. About your wife, because I'm Igbo and I'm proud to be Igbo.
Okay. Okay,
Yes,
I told you then that I have an Igbo wife.
yes, you did.
Yeah, I have an
So
Igbo wife from Onitsha.
yes, and part of what we're discussing today is Igbophobia. Is that what we call it? Yes, sir. I'm
Well,
happy. I'm glad to have you on board, sir. Sir Victor, can you tell us a bit about yourself before we proceed?
Sure, thank you very much. My name is Victor. I'm an economist, so I go by policy strategist. So I was having the conversation earlier with Dr. Raji that I grew up in Lagos. I'm from Delta State, that's Old Bendel. Um, all my years I've been in Lagos, born and bred in Lagos, till I left somewhere like around when I was 30. And yeah, what else can I add? So I now live in Germany. I'm also a citizen here. So um, I think it's going to be interesting conversation. Yeah.
Okay, maybe as we go, we will. This is an hour program. Won't expect. I don't expect us to exceed more than that, but we can get more, gather more too from your talks.
Mm-hmm.
What initiated this was. Thank God I'm able to have you on board, Sir Raji, because what I read previous in the past was this Nigeria must go, Ghana must go. That was in 1969. There was a period they had Nigeria must go. And that Nigeria must go, if I remember too well, cost Ghana so much. Because when they persuaded Nigeria to leave, I think at that point, what happened during the Biafra, they were giving 20 pounds. I think everything Nigeria, because Nigeria actually was the tip of Ghana economy at that time. And when they left, I think something like famine happened in Ghana. Can you just put a little bit? Do you know a little bit about that, sir?
yes, I do. I do.
Yes, sir.
I was in secondary school from 2 when that was in 69 when the alien quit order
Yes,
was implemented by Dr. K. Buzia.
yes.
And all aliens who didn't have resident permit were expected to leave. It was a very short time. It was such a traumatic experience for most Nigerians because it was just at the end of the Nigerian Civil War. And the country, Nigeria, was unstable,
Yes.
even for the people who are living in Nigeria. And then to have more than 1.5 million Nigerians coming in from Ghana. Ghana was essentially turned essentially into a ghost town because the Ghanaians, my father had been in Ghana before 1925,
Mm.
and he had all his children in Ghana.
Yeah.
He was a big cocoa farmer, cocoa dealer, produce buyer. You know, so that he was one of those who will first empower the farmers, pay them well in advance before they harvest, and then they go and collect the cocoa after the harvest. You know, so it was a serious disruption for everybody, and particularly for the Ghanaians, because the Ghanaians, you see, we have lived together for so long, we have intermarried, we have become like indigenous. We have become like, I, for instance, could have claimed Ghanaian citizenship because I was born before the Ghana independence. I can legally go back with my birth certificate and claim citizenship. So for some Nigerians, especially those who are from Ogbomoso area and Igbajo, most of them in the present day western region, present day Osun State, there were so many of us in Ghana, and the disruption, and some of them had great grandfathers who came to Ghana, and they didn't even know their town. They only knew that they were from Ogbomoso or somewhere. For some of them, the description of their family compound was maybe based on when you get to the Obas Palace, beside the Obas Palace, there's the Obas market, and behind the market, there's a big Iroko tree. And then by the time you get to that big Iroko tree, on your left is our family house. But for most of them, by the time they came back to Ogbomoso, that Iroko tree, which was a landmark, had been turned into a into a beer parlor, and there was no way to trace their homes. More than 90% of them had to move on, and they ended up in Jos.
Yes.
That's why
Okay.
at the moment you have over 1 million people from Ugboasho who are now in Jos.
Just okay.
Eh, yes, and they have been there from one generation onto the other, just as they were in Ghana.
Okay. And Victor, like you've heard a little bit of this story he told then. And like I said earlier on, what they were given that period when this happened, if you, no matter what you had in Ghana, the Nigerians had to sell up almost everything. They auction what they had. If you can't auction, you will leave it behind. And then the Ghanaians took it over. And all they were given, even if you had millions in your account, they were given only £2,000. What
I,
I
I do
read.
not know about that. Sorry,
Yes,
I
that's
don't
what.
I don't know about that, but I don't
Okay,
think that is correct.
okay, that's what they stated. So now, with whether it's not fact, maybe it's fact or it's not fact, but what I believe that period was Nigeria helped them to build and they sent them out. Then we take it back to 1983 when Obasanjo did his own Ghana Must Go. Do you have an idea about what happened that period, Victor?
And so I will later get to come to hear about it because I was not even born yet at those time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Um, I heard about it, and I until when I started looking up for this program, I didn't even know that there was initially the Ghana initial
Okay. Hmm.
before the
Okay,
19.
before the Nigerian one.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
to comment generally, I think it's poor policy on the part of government for if these kind of things are implemented, or when the government in power or believe that they can't compete, or the people of their own population can't compete. That's when this kind of policies come into place, and it's very similar to the kind of thing that Donald Trump is doing now in the US, where denying visas, blocking people from coming in to study. Uh, so the reasons are they have some positive reasons for it, to say maybe transfer of knowledge, and maybe that comes back to hurt them, like in China, like when these people go back to China, or like India. But I think they can always play these rules, or give these rules with balancing things, and without the crude way of asking people to go, or people not to come in. It's a kind of a policy from a government that is probably doesn't know its onions, or doesn't know really how to really handle things, or handle this aspect of the economy. That is always what brings about this. But um, if with better policymakers in place, they won't have to go in that direct. China should not come in, or Ghana must go. And we also see it playing out in Lagos also. Every time, like, this is even more political. When every time election is coming, you see Igbo this, Igbo that,
Yes,
and
let me cut you off a bit on that, because
yeah,
it's actually part of what's going on with the what brought up this whole thing, because it's
yeah,
not really Ghana must go per se we're talking about now. Is Igbo must go. Indirectly, that's what they're asking for. Igbo must go. And then unfortunately, Igbo happens to be part of that Nigeria. When you mentioned something about we lost Dr. Raji, but I'm sure he will come back. You mentioned something about the what happened in England, in what's going on in the US and all that. But what
yeah,
we are forgetting is this Pan Africanism. What is going on with Africans? That's the main thing. Because when that Nigeria must go happened, a lot happened in Ghana. They went into famine. They couldn't because the Nigerians that left. It's like when you're going, you go with your knowledge and everything. So they
yeah.
couldn't cope. And that lasted for a very long time until recently. I am not too sure of the day that Obasanjo still waved in and tried to sort out the issues. This was just most recently when he decided to give them to start supplying gas to Ghana, you know,
Mhm.
energy to Ghana. And then not only did he open up that alliance with Nigeria and Ghana, he also gave them at a lower rate.
Mhm.
Sorry, doctor is trying to get. Let me try and see if I can bring doctor. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Sorry, doctor, your site went off for a minute. So then Obasanjo waged. I was just trying to mention about the recent happenings, how Nigeria ended up being the ones too to supply energy to Ghana at discounted rate. And I was also told that they were waived, that 4 years was waived, delayed for payment and all that. What's going on with Africans? Why can't we be our brother's keeper? Why can't we? Ghana is a stone throw from Nigeria. Why can't we live together? I'm still talking about Nigeria, and I haven't gotten into the Igbo thing amongst what's going on amongst Igbos, Igbo must go or whatever. Doc, what do you have to say about that? How Nigeria is always there to help other Africans. But when it comes to fight back, I don't know why we cannot be together. What happened to the Pan Africanism that is being preached all over?
Sorry, I didn't get most of what you said. Sorry, my network went down. Now,
Okay, sir.
did I hear something about Nigeria supplying Ghana uh,
Yes,
gas at
yes,
subsidized prices? Well,
yes, sir.
that would be some bilateral relationship.
Yes.
Don't let us give the impression that Ghana is dependent on Nigeria for anything.
Mhm.
If there are any bilateral relationship between the two countries, let it there be that is a brotherly relationship.
Mhm.
Nigeria has always tried to be the big brother.
Yes.
Now, uh, Nigeria, I don't think Nigeria ever supplied Ghana electricity. Ghana has enough electricity for its own use. and Nigeria doesn't even have enough electricity for its own use. So Nigeria never at any time supplied Ghana electricity. As for uh, giving them credit for some time, it happens between two countries. I don't think Nigeria was doing Ghana any strong favors.
Okay. So now, what the main why I brought that up is even if it is the minimal thing that they do with for each other, what I'm trying to put up is why can't peace, love, and harmony reign between two countries?
So
I know it might not be from the top. It might not be from the top. Even if it is from the bloggers, they started all these things. Even if it's from the bloggers, shouldn't Ghana is small population wise? Shouldn't the government be able to control what's going on in Ghana when it wants to escalate when it comes to xenophobia?
See, there's no enmity between Ghana and Nigeria. Our relationship is so cordial.
Okay.
So I don't think anything will come between Nigeria and Ghana
Okay.
to mar our relationship. We have so much connections between the two countries. I was in Ghana last year for more than 2 months. Ghanaians are very, very welcoming people, just like we Nigerians too. We love visitors. So there's no now this Igbo thing is just because you see during economic downturns in every country, the people are always looking for a scapegoat, and it is better for you if you're a visitor in somebody's town to please handle yourself very well and not put yourself in dangerous way. Tempers are high. It will be the same thing here in Nigeria. If, like in Lagos, for instance, during the last elections, when there was a lot of anti-Igbo stance, which is now getting worse now, because also of the attitude of my Igbo in-laws. You cannot have a parallel authority in any place you are, different from against the local authority. Therefore, if you are a sojourner in somebody's town, please obey their rules and regulations. Do not raise yourself too high.
Okay. I understand where you're coming from, where you're trying, what are you trying, points you're trying to make. Victor, you mentioned Igbo, and all that. When I spoke with the king, he used your language, Dr. Raji, that there's no problems between the top and Nigeria, and that with him there isn't much a problem. But Victor, let me shock you. What he mentioned was that the problem he has is from Nigerians, not Ghanaians.
Okay.
That is Nigerians in Ghana that he had right from the time he got his eldership from Nigeria and moved into Ghana. And when he started answering that as Igbo, some Anambra friends, Anambra clique, wanted to take that away from him. And since they were not able to, that all these things that are being put up by Ghanaian bloggers is being pushed, sponsored by Nigerians, Igbo people. So, Victor, now that you heard a bit of this, what do you think what would you say about it?
Yeah, thank you. Like this kind of whether jealousy or just trying to pull each other down. Um, Not just it's not only peculiar to Igbos. So I think it's just everywhere to very large extent. I think for instance, like for myself, I don't know any any community, Nigerian community. I know they exist, but I don't mingle with anyone. So, like, for over 10 years that I've been in this country, I don't attend those gatherings. And the reason
That's
because
not true. No, no man is an island. You have to
I
deal
don't do
with your
because
community.
when I came newly in the first 1 2 years, I was actually doing it, but so it actually was there, and you have those gatherings where people actually come, like they have charms, they have this kind of different things. You have people, you have even people that call themselves they do this inside the church. They do this kind of thing where church become a community, a kind of a traditional community, and this kind of, so it's really very bad and crazy. And I actually also I stopped attending Nigerian dominated church. I started and I stopped attending other. So, but away from my own experience, but you always have this kind of things characterizing where maybe Nigerians, or but maybe particularly since we're talking about Igbo now, there, and yeah, so we have these kind of situations, and it's not surprising that, according to what he said, much of the attacks or trying to pull him down is coming from fellow Igbos. Um, it's just my man's nature. But what has happened, and like doctor said, um, maybe people he should just really watch how he wants to really proceed from going forward, and how he or any other person would really present themselves. Like you said, that they should be able to really respect the community that they are, and do things within the confines of the law, in the area which they've found themselves. And
It,
I also we also listened to the video where he said that was when he was still young, probably. So,
yes.
alluding to the fact that he miss probably his actions could be misstepping at when he was doing those videos, like when he was young and he was with less
Okay,
knowledge.
Victor, let me help out there. What he said, yeah, that happened. Doc, I'm still going to come to you to ask you about this Igbo thing. That if there, since you live in Ghana, what is wrong? How is Igbos perceived in Ghana? But what he said was, when he first came into Ghana, he's close to a chief, one of the chiefs in Ghana, who decided, okay, and that period he had a few common friends that they wanted to do things together. So the chief said, okay, to develop my area, you can help us develop the area by building a marketplace. So instead of building a marketplace, they said, okay, they will build a mall, put a mall there to employ people and all that to develop the area. So that period, few years before that, it wasn't coming up. The ball wasn't coming up. Then later on, about 5 years later, the chief told them that that was when he made that statement. But 5 years later, the chief said there's a problem with that land. So he dragged and dragged. They decided not to do anything. They actually forgot about it until these people now that wants to he's usually he does what we call the Rigi Yam Festival every year in Ghana. So now this Yam Festival, he told me instances what happened twice previously in his Yam Festival. Now this Yam Festival, there's nothing else they want to bring up to stop this Yam Festival from holding. They dug this thing up from 13 years back and made it believe that it's something that is just happening, and that he understood quite well that he cannot be build a kingdom in a kingdom. And he also knew that in the constitution of Ghana, that he's not supposed to come there. There's a lot of things he said that I'm shocked. Well, one of the things he told me about the constitution, that is not allowed in constitution, that even you cannot, a foreigner cannot sell in the market to retailers, only to wholesalers, something like that. There's the way he put it. So I said, okay, since that's why I was pleading if you can come to the show to let us know, understand a bit of how it works in Ghana, and why is it that every small thing, why is it that Igbos are not just only in Ghana, but especially in Ghana, why is it that Igbos are being talked about? especially when it comes to trading. You know, we're traders.
Yes. No, you see, you said it yourself
Yes, sir.
that the Eze's problem was not even from the Ghanaians, but from
Yes.
fellow Igbos.
Yes.
So it is now time. I think you Igbos should look into yourself, because the same rivalry that you have in the southeast, where somebody from Umunede cannot be anything in Umunekwe, the next
Yes.
village.
Yes.
In the case where a priest, a priest of the Catholic Church, who is from Anambra, cannot be the district head of the Catholic priesthood in Enugu.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. So it's
Yes.
something that you Igbo guys should look into. So
Mhm.
why is it that it's only you among all ethnicities in Nigeria,
Mhm.
anywhere outside the country? Why? You have to do some self-reflection in that area. You know,
I know.
inside Nigeria, outside Nigeria, it is up to the point that even internationally, uh, recently there was a case of in Pakistan where an Igbo man was being stopped from entering Pakistan, and the immigration guys were telling him that he's an Igbo. They now differentiate between the Igbo and the Yoruba and the Hausa, who don't travel much anyway. So between the Igbo and the Yoruba, there's a distinction even internationally.
That's
So
that's
it is
that's the
something.
problem.
Yes, that's a serious
That is
problem. It is
yes.
for the Igbo clan to look into
Eh,
it.
it's not. You see, I'm a president, founder and president of a club called Igbo Women Ambassadors. I advocate for Igbo anywhere I am, especially Igbo women. But then when you hear sometimes you hear these things like, we can't we be our brother's keeper? I'm Igbo. I'm my sister's keeper. I protect my brothers, my sisters anywhere. It's not quote unquote all Igbos that are like that. But while I put that question to you instead of Victor, is because you have lived in Ghana, outside Nigeria, and then we hear these things are happening also outside Nigeria. We know it happens internally. Like Victor was
Yes.
going to mention about what's going on in Lagos, about how they were destroying homes and doing this internally in Nigeria. So now in like say in Ghana, a country like Ghana, you live there, you know much about that. Was there anything that triggered it in the past that made them so okay? Every small thing
No,
is Igbo, every small thing is Igbo.
no. The Igbo population in Ghana has not been so much. As
Okay.
a matter of fact, it's more the Yoruba people who have been in Ghana, and
Okay.
surprisingly, people from Calabar area, in the
Okay.
Calabar
Oh
area,
wow. Hmm.
who are more resident. All those when you hear about
Yes.
the Asian
Mm-hmm.
that we had is actually a Calabar name.
Calabar.
But
Ah,
you have
okay.
Asian in the thing. And then
That's a good one.
The Hausa,
Yes.
especially from Kano, are very, very
Mm-hmm.
prominent across
Mm-hmm.
across Ghana and
Mm-hmm.
in Cape Coast where I was made.
Mm-hmm.
That's the central region.
Mm-hmm.
So the Igbos are a recent immigration force in Ghana. So and I don't think they have all. And the only thing that has made the Igbo to become prominent. Let me use prominent is- so that I will not use a negative thing. It's
Yeah.
because of their attitude and the character that they show.
Yeah.
The character that they show.
Okay.
You can never find a Yoruba king who calls himself a Yoruba king. He can tell you there is a leader of the Yorubas. He is under authority of the local authority. But you
Hmm.
have an Igbo man who is now calling him an Igbo king.
He's
You
not.
know,
He's not. That was a misunderstanding.
no,
That was
you see, no, you see, get my point.
okay,
He's now
sir. Go
calling
ahead.
himself like Igbo.
Ezigbo.
Eh?
Ezigbo.
So
Mm-hmm.
it is. in the case of the Hausas and the Yoruba, it's a little nuanced. It's not something like pushy. It's something very very subtle. No, but it's not the same thing with my
You know
Igbo in-laws.
why? I think why it was a problem, that word was a problem, was because in Ghana, they use the word chiefs for their kings. They use the word chiefs. And then in Igbo land, we have Eze, we have Igwe. Igwe is the higher one, the highest one. So now all these small, small chiefs that are like a higher in, instead of using the word high chief or something, automatically they call themselves Eze. But his own now, the interpretation, because there's been a law that we circulated in Nigeria that no, there should be no Eze outside Igbo land. And after this case came up, they sent out another circular that, okay, instead of answering Eze Ndi Igbo, you can answer Onye Ndu Ndi Igbo, which means also like like you said, the leader of Igbos and all that. Victor, let me push this to you. This Igbophobia that is you talked about. What do you know? Not just, let's take Ghana out of it a bit. Why is it that everywhere Igbo people go, I'm Igbo. I love my culture. I love my tradition. But although I've not witnessed it before, I wouldn't say I've seen where they were maltreated or where it
I
happened.
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Mr. Lady Mali.
I can hear you.
Yeah, Peter, check. I mean,
You are muted, or am I the
Victor,
one?
Victor, it should be you. It should be from your side.
I can hear you, Lady Mali.
I can hear her. Can you hear me, Victor?
Okay. Check your Victor. Check your this. Check while we still talk. You can check your system.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Okay, you can hear me now. Fantastic. Yeah. So what I was saying to you, Victor, is why is it, as an Igbo man, young man, why is it that we're not talking about Ghana now? Wherever Igbo people go, I know we're industrious. I know we are loud. I know we are hardworking. I know we are friendly. I know but also there's a stigma that follows Igbos outside. Why is it that wherever we go, there's something about, is it that we're intimidating or that we have a bad reputation or what? What is it that is tagging us along whenever we go? The negative tags we get whenever we go out, Igbo people, other countries. See what's going on in South Africa. See what's going on in India. See what's going on in Malaysia. All these are recent things happening in amongst Igbo boys.
So I think it's well, in 2 or 3 phases, or 2 or 3 aspects, depending on what best describe each of these. So we have those things that are positive, that are making Igbos being envied, and bringing forth this kind of attack. But what's the percentage, or to what extent is this in influencing this outcry against the Igbos? Then we have those other parts that are really motivated from maybe greed and quick reach schemes. These kind of things also are there. Then there's this third part that is just what you like, this, I won't say Yahoo, but just scheming things or trying to swindle people. And so these are these 3 parts that I'm dividing this situation into. So it's not a question of which of them is playing out. And but I think these 3 are always present in all of the situation, or in all the countries. So
but it's not an Igbo thing. It's not Igbos. It's not an Igbo thing. I remember when I was in America a long time ago in the 80s. There's what this Yahoo you're talking about now. Or there's what they used to call it Ike. And then there's one they call they use what Yoruba language they use. You know, the Ike itself was actually amongst the Yoruba boys. So why is it that now it's Igbos, and the names we're getting is not even like what you're mentioning now is not just what happened in South Africa some time ago that we're taking their jobs. Like
Yeah,
Doctor said, is it the way we portray ourselves that causes it? Is it the way, like, if, like now, thank God, Ezigbo has said, I used to still call him Ezigbo Ghana, has come to say he didn't say he's acquiring a kingdom, he's building a kingdom, he's doing this, he's doing that. But it must be somebody that said, okay, he wants to show off because this the Iriji, the young festival he does in Ghana, you know, a lot of people fly from all over the world for this thing, for an Igbo man to do a festival in Ghana. In as much as I believe it brings some kind of empowerment to Ghana people and all that. But is it the way we promote it, or is it the loudness, or what? Is it that brings Igbo bad name? Even in England here, actually in England here too, we also have backbiters and all that amongst ourselves. And there's a word they used to say that Igbo enwero nwanne, which means that we don't have Igbo enwero king, Igbo enwero nwanne, that we don't know have brothers, or we don't know us, we don't love ourselves. But to me, I don't think it's true. I don't think it's fact. So I don't know why. I don't know, maybe like Doc, you said, it's
Is it,
us, you
you
know?
know, is it the average Nigerian?
Mhm,
The average Nigerian is self-confident.
mhm,
The average Nigerian is self-confident. And therefore, in South Africa, for instance, where the black people have been oppressed for so long, to
mhm,
the extent that the average black man finds it difficult to raise up his head to look in the eye of a white man. But in Nigeria, a Nigerian in South Africa, you know, even the way he talks with confidence, right? In the Igbo case, I think you guys take it a notch too high. And
mhm,
then, as Victor mentioned, your get rich quick schemes, drug dealing, which is now being accepted globally, especially in Malaysia and in Thailand, so that anytime a black man is entering those countries, the guys are on their feet to ensure that there are no drugs brought into the country. There have been many executions of Igbo drug peddlers in Malaysia, in the Southeastern Asian countries. And the case of the xenophobia in South Africa was mainly against the drug dealings of mainly Igbo people. That said, the average Nigerian is overly confident. We are confident in what we do, and why, because we are educated and we are confident in ourselves. We can look a white man right in the eyes and tell him to shut up. Something that some of our South African or Southern African people may be envious of that, and that to be the source of envy. But for the whole country to rise up against a particular section of the Yoruba community,
mhm,
it's an indication of how that section of the Yoruba community has been handling itself, has been propping itself in that community. So
mhm,
I think we have said it before that the Igbo man should
mhm,
probably check himself, because let's mention the case of Nigeria here in Lagos
mhm,
during the last elections when there was the cry that Lagos is no man's land.
mhm,
That got off a lot of Yoruba people to be aware, because the Yoruba man is not docile, but laid back, not aggressive, accommodating. But if you take his accommodation for stupidity, he will show you who he is. And unfortunately, it is getting very, very deep now, to the extent that land, land, uh, buying land for a non-indigenous, for a non-Yoruba person, is becoming a very, very difficult thing. It may be difficult for a non-Yoruba person to buy land in Lagos, and even with a CFO, not to be able to take full hold of his land. I think our people should be, my in-laws should be very careful. More so when recently there was something that one Israel just rather mentioned that you don't sell land to non-indigenous, and therefore if you don't sell land to non-indigenous in your part, so why do you want to come to my part of the route and want to buy land and want to own land?
Victor,
Huh?
Victor, what do you have to say to that? Because
Yeah,
Doc made some points here now about because I remember one of the shows we were having in the past. You mentioned things about the houses that were being destroyed in the Lagos State and all that. What do you have to say about that in regards to what Doc just said?
I don't totally agree with Doctor because so I think for the one in Lagos, I think it's majorly politically motivated during the election. Look now, if you see now that election is not close, those kind of Lagos is no man's land, Lagos is this and that. It's not news. It's not an issue. It's not an issue now. But when the election draws near, then you now see. So that is the making of Tinubu and the APC government. So
No,
for that
no, no,
I
sorry, Victor. I beg
uh,
to decide. I just mentioned to you now that as a rider of that no man's land, things are happening now in Lagos,
no,
and it's not
no,
political.
I'm coming to that part. I just wanted to address
Okay.
that first. The second part is the fact that you see, one thing that and I think maybe one somebody would just have to say this at some point is that Lagos or Lagosians should stop ascribing this Lagos is my thing to Lagos, because Lagos is a former capital city, and because it's a former capital city, it's I would say if we want to probably um, remove sentiment, it has left this whole thing just the way. See, in the house of in the legislature in Abuja, somebody is giving an opinion that they should move people away because I'm not standing that comment by the legislature is right or wrong, but that is what comes with when your city is being a capital city. So the fact that Lagos has been a capital city, so I'm coming, doctor. It's it gives it has lived that corridor of it's one local. If it's Ibadan, if it is Osun State, we can talk about these things. But that being said, wait, I'm coming. But that being said, we talk about buying land. They are not stealing the land. They are not putting gun to people's head to really get this land. So they are selling it. If you are not selling it, it's I can tell you that the money that is being given 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, they are going to sell the land. If they don't sell, if Lagos State government can choose not to give C of O to it's a different ball game entirely. And I can tell you that they will find a way around it. I'm just going to have I have a Yoruba name. I contested the election in in Lagos State before, so it's not like so they will always find a way around that, which would still go. But if Igbos are not selling land in the east, it's not a capital city, and maybe you give them 10
Victor, that's not Victor. Victor, we cannot. I don't think we should justify it that way. First
No,
off,
no, no,
before
no,
Doc, please, before Doc says
sorry, ma'am.
something,
Sorry, ma'am.
eh?
Let me just correct something that Victor just said.
No,
Lagos might have been,
Doc, sorry, before you
okay,
correct, Doc, before
okay,
you
okay.
correct it, I
All
just
right, ma'am.
wanted to say that that statement that Lagos is a no man's land, I'm still yet to find out or to know if it's an authentic statement that was made, or
It was
just
not.
somebody.
It's just somebody which doesn't
Yeah,
represent
because
which doesn't
nobody
represent
literally
a whole
said that.
nation or a whole tribe.
Okay, please let doctor say
Now,
something.
let me tell you something.
Hmm.
Um, that Lagos,
Mhm.
that was the capital,
Yeah.
is not up to 2% of what is now Lagos State.
That's true. That is true.
Um, as far back as the only part of Lagos that was capital of Nigeria at that time was
Mm-hmm.
Victoria Island and Ikoyi,
Yeah.
and that's not even up to 1% of the current Lagos State.
Mm.
So
But
Lagos, if you are,
because
if you are, if
they
no,
built
so
Third
you
Mainland
can.
Bridge. Third Mainland Bridge was built in Lagos. That is not on the island. It comes from the mainland to the island. If Lagos was not the capital city, nobody's going to probably the Third Mainland Bridge
No,
will
no,
not
no,
be
no,
there.
Victor. That was when Third Mainland Bridge was just yesterday. We're talking about when Lagos was
I'm
capital.
just maybe
Yes, and even then, look, do you know the extent of Lagos? Western region was up to Mushin, was up to Surulere, was up to Abalende.
Yes.
Let me tell you this, that was Western region.
Mhm.
Now, if you have the Lagos as the capital city, Lagos as capital, and your people are living outside the capital city, and they have to come into the city to work, and there's no bridge between them, what happens? Wouldn't you build? Doesn't the federal government build infrastructure in other states? There are federal roads in other states. So if the federal government built the bridge, does that give the federal
It
government the right?
wasn't even
Look,
it wasn't even the Third Mainland then. It was the Eco Bridge, not the Third Mainland Bridge.
whether a co bridge, or whether a co-bridge or Carter Bridge or Terminal
Mhm.
Bridge. Now let me tell you
Mhm.
something. When the capital was moved from Lagos to Abuja,
Mhm.
every land now reverted to Lagos State. Every land, that's why up to today, no federal government cannot sell land in Lagos without first recourse to the state government. That's why the old federal secretariat is still in shambles, because there's a war over it. Lagos state government refused. This is Lagos land. This is Lagos State, not federal anymore.
So
Because even when Lagos was capital, there was no compensation given to the Lagosians whose land were being used for federal government things. So if the federal government is leaving Lagos, the land reverts to the people of the state. So get that clear. And that is the misconception, and that is what you guys bring into Lagos that causes you a lot of problems. When you'll be ranting Lagos is no man's land. You are going to do it to such an extent. Let me tell you, because sorry for using that to ranting, because that is exactly what is happening. And it doesn't happen only during election time. It happens all the time. And as it is now, the indigenous of Lagos have now you have opened their eyes to the point that, look, even streets named after Igbo non-indigenous have been changed.
Yes, that's what they're doing now. They're changing it now.
Yes,
It's
yes.
really bad though. It's
It is
dividing
not
us.
bad.
It's
It is
dividing us
not
in
bad.
Nigeria. It's dividing us in Nigeria. So when we complain about outside, it's bad. It's terrible.
Look,
That
check your character in your relationship in dealing with other people. Check it.
now
no.
my
When you say character, you're now categorizing everybody. Like
yeah.
I said, personally,
Let me tell you something. My
listen.
my late father-in-law was a perfect gentleman. I was proud to call him daddy.
Mhm.
Perfect gentleman. I can
Mhm.
have discussions with him, and he will look at me and he shake his head. Ah, he wishes that his people
Mhm.
will have evolved to the level, because you see, let me tell you, the Yoruba people evolved into a nation, and they have a moral code. which is the Omoluobi ethos. That
I
guides
wish
our
we could
relationship
have.
with.
I wish I could. There's a few people I would have brought in for us to discuss this Igbo Yoruba affair, because it was
Yes,
actually the Ghana affair that took us to this Igbo Yoruba affair.
yes,
I
because
really
it is
would love
because
to, sir. If you don't
because
mind, sir. If you
mm,
don't mind, sir, can I invite you another show? Let me invite some Igbo brothers too. Let's
I'm
discuss
I'm
this thing. You
I'm
know,
ever ready. No,
because
I
this
told you
will be very interesting.
I told you I have an Igbo wife.
Yes,
As you
you
are
did.
talking now, as you are
Yes.
talking now, some of my
Yes.
in-laws are not talking to me because of what
Oh,
happened, the elections in Lagos. Now I
hi.
tell you,
You see?
what
You see?
why you voted 99% for Obi in the
Mm-hmm.
southeast.
Mm-hmm.
So you want me to vote for your candidate when even
Victor,
my leader, Pa Adebanjo, was the first person to raise up Obi's hand
mm-hmm.
for president.
Mm-hmm.
And he was maligned, he was abused. The man was 90 something years old. He stood his
Oh,
ground.
oh yes.
Well,
I can tell you that I was one of the people who were involved in looking for a credible Igbo candidate for the presidency. But it's not an appointment thing, it's an election. And
Election,
that
yes.
candidate, no matter who, has to go for an election.
Yes.
Yes, it's
Victor,
not an
what do you have to
appointment.
say? Because we've almost come to the end of the show. What do you have to say, Victor?
yeah. So my point about the about capital. So
No,
maybe
let's revere from that.
okay.
We'll have another show on that.
Alright.
Let's go back
Okay.
to our Ghana must go thing to round up,
Ghana.
because actually yeah, we are today. This let's see this Igbophobic thing going on in Ghana. How do we
No,
advise our Igbo brothers? Because now we've known for fact that it's not a Ghana thing. It's
it's
just
not
that
a
some
Ghana
Igbo
thing.
brothers paid some Ghana bloggers to crucify their Igbo brother.
They are
So now,
brothers, yes.
how do we handle this case about Igbo versus Igbo in
There's
Ghana?
no Igbos don't have doctor was saying that we don't have one Oba king
Voice.
somewhere that would dictate to people the way they should live or how they should
Not
conduct or
dictate.
this kind of so I'm just like or a kind of a like a modus operandi how people should
Yes,
relate with
a moral code.
we don't, yeah. So there is no such thing and only what we have is maybe the family which is the smallest where you actually get how you grew up or the upbringing and maybe the community, Igbo has this, the community is one that raised the child or something like that. And apart from that, there is no other, no matter what, how many talks or how many seminars that that you hold for those gatherings, it won't change people or persons or how they will react or how they will carry themselves for and somebody made a comment our brother made a comment in the show that see this kind of thing are only prevalent in you can say Ghana or South Africa. You don't have it in the US, you don't have it in the UK, like you don't have it in also here in Germany because there are laws. I tell you one thing about Germany. We have this thing that Germany was built by the Turkish. There's a large population of people from Turkey here, and they have areas where they live, just like this thing that is happening where they live here in Germany, and even in Berlin, in this capital city, we have where that is dedicated that they live, and but in this nobody like everyone just live in harmony because there is rule, there is
And
order.
laws.
So there is no you don't misbehave, you don't have all these burning things or placard. Like you can't do those things. You'll be on your way back to your country. Like it won't take time. So so
Where
yeah, and others, and everybody just behave
let me
themselves.
interrupt you. Let me interrupt you before Doc says his final words. Femi is just joining in the background.
Yeah,
Femi, I'm bringing you up just to say hello because we've just rounded up. We finished our talk. You've done it.
okay.
I'll do your own too. It's Ali. Say hi to Doc is here. Dr.
Hi,
Raji.
Victor. Hi, Raji.
Yeah,
Sorry I'm late,
Femi,
but
how are you?
I was hearing your conversation. I think it's very interesting. And I hope we can not be doing tit for tat. Ghana must go, Nigeria must go. It's not good. We're all one Africa.
Yes. What I was there because we're on our final thoughts now. I was going to ask, not was, Dr. Raj, can you just give us your final thoughts on this Ghana Nigeria Igbo thing?
As far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, there is no enmity between Ghana and Nigeria. As long as you obey the local rules and regulations, I don't think anybody will have any problem living in Ghana. Ghanaians are very, very friendly people until you show yourself to be not desirous of their hospitality. The Ghanaians are very, very hospitable people.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much to get that from a Ghanaian Nigerian, Igbo indigent. He's an Igbo man, though, but we'll call him again. We'll invite him again. Femi, what do you have to say to us since you just joined in? We just
Yeah,
rounded up.
just like Raji said, I think when you go into a country, when you're in Rome, do like the Romans, so comply with all the rules, do things properly. If you do things properly, they love you. But once you involve yourself in illegal activities, then, you say you are the new king in the place, start giving yourself titles and things like that, it becomes very problematic. So that's something that I think we need to look at. And really check ourselves as a people. And like what I heard, most Ghanaians, when they're abroad, they have a Ghanaian association for the whole of Ghana. But when we are abroad, unfortunately, you have a Yoruba association, Owu association, Egba association, the Igbo association, and so on. It's just the way Nigeria is, So that's another thing that we need to come to terms with in terms of unifying ourselves when we are abroad. In fact, actually, most Nigerians, they're not really bothered where you come from when you're abroad. If you're Nigerian, that's the most important factor. But when they have cultural groups, they
That's
splinter
what
into
makes us
politics.
giants. That's why we're
Yeah, they
giants
make,
of Africa.
yeah,
We cannot all come under one umbrella.
yeah.
It's not that it's not possible. We have the
Well,
NIDO, which
well,
is
well
the
we yeah,
Nigerian diaspora is NIDO. It's like
yeah,
that association you're talking about. But we have culture. Your culture and
yeah,
my culture is not the same. And for me to portray that Igbo tradition and culture, it has to be amongst my community. That's what
yeah.
I
But
think in this
I agree
aspect.
with you, but if you start mixing politics with it, which a lot of people do, then it becomes something else. That's where problems happen. And it's from just culture. Next minute it's political. Then next minute they're supporting the candidate. Then it becomes very problematic. So if you stick to culture, you can't go wrong because everybody loves culture. Everybody wants to learn about their culture, somebody else's culture, different types of food, different type of clothes. People love that. And Nigerian weddings, all that kind of stuff. People are loving that. So Nigeria is good. Nigeria is great. The world loves us. Nollywood, Afrobeats, they're all loving us. We should embrace them too and enjoy their culture too.
Okay, with this, I must say we have come to the end of this show. We've actually taken a few minutes past the hour. And I must say thank you so much, Dr. Raji, for joining. Thank you, Sir Victor, for joining. Thank you, Femi Oke, for joining. And from
Yeah.
here, Straight Talk. And I say good night until next week. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Prime View TV, new media.